Mr. Edvin Linkomies, until 1928 called Flink, was born in the eastern Finnish Karelian city of Viipuri in December 1894. Since 1944, Viipuri has belonged to Russia as Viborg. He died in Helsinki, the Finnish capital, in September 1963. He was an academician, a professor of Latin literature at University of Helsinki, the rector or headmaster of the university from 1956 to 1962, and the chancellor of the university from 1962 to 1963. He grew up in the western or southwestern Finnish coastal city of Rauma. He had a quick and splendid career in academia, graduating already at 19 from the University of Helsinki, writing his dissertation at 22, and becoming the professor and head of the Department of Latin Literature at 29. He had continued his research in Germany, Leipzig and Halle, and would keep close contact with German universities for all his life. However, as a teacher and a scientific leader, he was known for his Anglo-Saxon style, at least according to his English language Wikipedia article, clear and simplistic in his presentations, emphasizing the grand lines rather than intriguing details and exceptions, but also as a demanding authoritarian and maybe too self-confident academician who was also keen of the dignity of his office. He was the last, or at least one of the last, Finnish academicians who were recruited from academia to important political tasks. He was also the last to give lectures in formal academic dress, and the last to expect students and university employees to bow deeply for their rector. His ideological development may for later generations seem remarkable, but among his contemporaries it was not unheard of to have been ardently nationalist, anti-Scandinavian, monarchy-minded, anti-socialist, and anti-democrat, only to shred these opinions one after the other. His posthumously published memoirs entitled A Difficult Time describe his astonishment over how the socialist half of Finland's population turned out to be equally patriotic defenders as the non-socialists after the Soviet Union attacked Finland at the start of the Winter War in November 1939. According to his own account, he was also one of the first Finns to realize the troubling nature of the Nazis, at least among his fellow conservatives. He belonged to the National Coalition Party, which back then was a clearly right-wing party. During the interwar period, much of Linkomies's rhetoric and political energy was directed against the Finland Swedes and the remnants of their privileges and dominance in the society, but also against Sweden and Scandinavia, that he perceived as both too socialist and too eager to dominate Finland. However, in the 1950s, after the disappointment over Sweden's limited support during the wars, he contributed energetically to inter-Nordic contacts and cultural exchange. In the early 1930s, he argued in his memoirs that his ambition was to steer Finland's then conservative party, the National Coalition, in democratic direction after its entanglement with the half-fascist Lapua movement. But in order to achieve this, he appeared to conform to the lesser evils of anti-parliamentarianism, militant anti-socialism, and authoritarianism. During the Continuation War from 1941 to 1944, after the German army's defeat at Stalingrad, he was appointed Prime Minister in March 1943, with peace on top of his agenda, but neither in deeds nor in words would the government, led by him and President Ryti, reveal this aim, fearing the majority of the Finns to be unprepared, and the German co-belligerent still too strong. Furthermore, he did not dare to establish contacts with the growing domestic opposition against the war, and only very cautiously and hesitantly with countries that probably would have been inclined to support the peace process, notably the United States, Sweden and Britain, if they had had confidence in Finland's wish for peace. He resigned as prime minister in August 1944, was arrested in the autumn of 1945 as one of the former top politicians allegedly responsible for Finland's continuation war against the Soviet Union. He was sentenced to 5.5 years in prison for the alleged abuse of his office for the damage of Finland in February 1946, but he was pardoned by President Paasikivi, a fellow National Coalitioner, in November 1948. After being released, he concentrated on his academic activities and did not, at least, show any active interest in politics.